All right, hold up, everyone.
We need to start.
Okay, can the first slide come up?
Yeah. After this one, wait till the break.
Title of my presentation is,
It was in that line.
you know, we've spent a lot about
The
what
door to the right.
Kemet is, but the title of my presentation is Why Kemet? Insights into reconceptualizing national identity. Next slide. I want to dedicate this presentation to Sheikh Anta Diop. And next slide. And in the 1974 UNESCO Symposium, Sheikh Anta Diop actually gives credit to deciphering what the word Kemet means. He actually gives credit to another African. This other African, he says, is Susu in Sudan, who was to compile this part of the present chapter. So I give credit to this brother too for this particular thing. Next slide. At the UNESCO conference, just a brief review. At the UNESCO conference, we'll read the proceedings of the unabridged volume of the General History of Africa, Volume 2. There is a debate, many debates, but there is a debate around the word Kemet. But the main protagonist was a brother from the Sudan, Abdallah. And Abdallah, I kind of feel like we're recreating the 1974 UNESCO conference. Because Abdallah said at that conference that the word Kim didn't mean black. And that was what started the whole tete-a-tete at the UNESCO Symposium on the issue of Kim. And so immediately after he said that, a French Egyptologist, Sir Sonoran, intervened. And Sir Sonoran intervened and said, no. Kim does mean black. And so Sir Sonoran and Jean Leclerc issues of race and culture. But not an issue of whether or not the word Kim meant black. Next slide. By way of conclusion, so if I don't complete my time, I'm going to give you my conclusion up front. Okay? By way of conclusion, the word Kemet refers to a novel ethno-geopolitical national marker of identity that was primarily forged in the cauldron of the internal contradictions and politics of what is referred as the first intermediate period. Novel in two fundamental ways. One, the innovation of a unitary concept of the nation, and two, the political need to more rigidly distinguish themselves as a nation of people, which is clearly shown in a new hyper-discourse around borders, Tosh, internally and externally, initially and principally directed against the people from Western Asia in the first intermediate period. Next slide. So, how do we know? So, Asar, gave some examples of my work, and I want to give some examples of your work. How do we know that Asar Imhotep means Osiris who comes in peace? How is it that we know that? We know that through a process of historical evolution within the Kemetic language, where Asar is Usire in Coptic. E, which is to come, continues all the way to Coptic. Hotep is a word that continues from the beginning all the way to Coptic. Asar's method, unfortunately, is not a historical comparative method, it's an ahistorical comparative method. It's ahistorical in the sense that what Asar does is that he wants to bypass the historical evolution of the Egyptian language that ends in Coptic. And so because he does not feel that Coptic is a part of the Egyptian language, he feels that it's a separate language. So what Asar does in his comparative method is that he goes into other areas and he doesn't go through Coptic, he goes around it. And that's where Obinga's method is the correct method.
This is good, y'all.
And the correct method is actually a free translation. Tepesem means atop the county. How do we know that? Through Coptic. So, as a result, every time you bypass Coptic, you are implicitly saying that Medu Neter has not been deciphered in your methods. Because when you make translations of any text, ask yourself, how is it that we get Khanu means residence?
I'm sorry.
How do we get to that?
I'm biased.
Are we guessing? Or is there a long historical evolution that ends in Coptic? And so this is what's at stake. So I'm giving this example up here from Jaroslav Cherny's Coptic Etymological Dictionary. This is the English version. I'll come to Ogden Golay's article in a minute. But Ogden, in his piece, he gives the French version of Werner Bicichet, Dictionnaire étymologique de la langue copte. But in both languages, when you see, I don't have my clicker up here, but when you see Kimon become black, Kame, black, and you see it in Demotic there, and then it has Keme, black land, Egypt. That means, and then of course, in the Verjabu that you like to cite, the earliest reference to Kim that the Verjabu gives is from the 2nd dynasty, where the determinative on Kim is the horse, falcon on a standard. And how does he translate it? The black horse in the Verjabu. So from the earliest attestation, from the 2nd dynasty onward, we actually see Kim meaning black. So you ask, the question is, how do we get to this? That is, that Kim as a root has a long evolution inside the Kemetic language. Next. Brother Reggie gave a text from the pyramid text. And this text is actually from the text of the pyramid of Pepi I. And the line is here. His transcription is in the 2nd line there. Aha ek kinti kemetiu hapi. And then east. Next line. This is James Allen's translation of this. You shall stand at the fore of the dual flagpole shrines as men. You shall stand at the fore of those of black land as the apis. That is, that Allen is translating, because Allen is translating that as a Nesby adjective, and it's proper. That's what you see there. But it's an interesting parallel here in terms of what you see, because as Reggie said, there's a couple of points that Reggie's making very strong here. But as Reggie said, the Apis bull is not just a sacred bull, but it's a black bull. Yep. So when you see here, those of the black land as Apis, it's actually an emphasis on the fact that it's black. But the interesting thing is that with Pepi the First, we're in the 6th dynasty, and this is kind of what I want to talk about today, is that we're in the 6th dynasty. The reference by Ogden Golay, which I'm coming to in a minute, in terms of the historical reference, this implies, Kemetiu implies a Kemet. But the problem is that we only see it in the pyramid text. But it implies an Old Kingdom origin point that's local, social, descriptive. Next slide. But the issue is that when we look at a text by Nigel Strudwick, text from the Pyramid Age. Nigel Strudwick, this is the most comprehensive compilation of texts in the English language that you can read of the Old Kingdom. And I've looked at every one of these texts. And when you look at all of these texts, what you see is that Kemet is not a word that is used in the Old Kingdom to describe their land. And it's quite interesting. So that there is something that is going on. We can't fully see what is going on in the Second Dynasty all the way up until the beginning of the Middle Kingdom. But there is something there. Next slide. Some of our conversation is actually, some of what I've seen is actually an engagement with the work of Ogden Golet here, and an article that he wrote, Kemet and Other Egyptian Terms for Their Land. And Ogden was a professor at New York University. I actually worked with him when I was scholar in residence here at NYU. And I actually have all of his files that were thrown away in the trash by NYU. That's another story. But Ogden, in this, next slide. Well, before I come back to Ogden, I'm going to give this presentation as a shout out to my master teacher, Theophilo Beatty. Dr. Carruthers has always taught me, many have taught me, to let the ancestors speak for themselves and let the elders speak for themselves. And so I'm not going to, in terms of what Kemet is, I'm going to read Obinga and my translation of Obinga in French and from French. And this is a work, a relatively recent work that Obinga has published. And this is part of a debate. It's a book called Leçons de la lutte contre l'africanisme eurocentrisme, the meaning of the struggle against Eurocentric Africanism. And this is excerpts from this book in a debate that he held or in print with Marc Etienne, who is the curator of the Egyptian collection at the Louvre Museum. So I'm just going to read you what he wrote in response to Marc Etienne in this debate, which actually resolves some of the issues that we're talking about. Next slide. And he's quoting Marc Etienne here. As a result, the ancient Egyptians were black African like all other natives of the African continent. Of course, there are blacks not only in Africa, but in South India and Melanesia, for example. Marc Etienne has not yet mastered the Egyptian language, written in hieroglyphs. And now he's quoting Etienne. The name of Egypt, Kemet, is often translated erroneously by Sheikh Anta Diop as the country of the blacks, with grammatical errors added by T. Obinga Passing. Next slide. This translation is based on the distinction, this is still Etienne. This translation is based on the distinction made by the Egyptian text between one part called
There
black
goes your
man,
master teacher.
Ta Kim, as using Ta as a definite article, Ta Kim. That is to say the cultivated valley in reference to the color of the Nile soil. And the other part, the red land, that is to say,
Ain't no ADOS today.
the word Kim means to be complete in
ADOS
the
take a
sense
back
of
seat today.
completed, achieved, which refers to the well-attested concept of the unity of Egypt, materialized by the union of the two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt, but also the unity of the country as a divine eye with perfect integrity. He's quoting Marc Etienne here. Next. And now here's Obinga's voice. Marc Etienne wanders. And it is a serious error for a quote-unquote curator of Egyptian antiquities at the Louvre Museum in Paris. What he writes does not make any sense. Sheikh Anta Diop translated Kemet by the land of the blacks in which work, which page? I have advanced this translation with grammatical errors in which work, which page? Why lie constantly to Eurocentric Africans? Next slide. Now he's giving his demonstration Ajit means black land, and if you consider Kim to be complete, completed, achieved in the translation of this expression, Ta Kim, what is then the final translation? Something like this: complete black land completed. That is, here the word Kim has a double meaning, black and to be complete at the same time. Mark Etienne is totally wrong. He ignores the existence of synonyms and homonyms in Egyptian. He confuses everything with incredible frivolity. Next slide.
You better tell him, Sean. We in the
Here are the
building.
facts ignored by Mark Etienne. Kim, noire, adjective. The hieroglyph of the owl is employed as a phonetic complement. Kim, to complete, to be complete. You see the determinative of the papyrus going up titus at the end here, conveying abstract notion. Thus, there exist two words, Kim, which are homonyms, but not synonyms. Adjective black and the verb to be complete. Next slide. They are different at both the lexical and grammatical level for all Egyptologists of the world, with the exception of the erudite curator of the Louvre, Mark Etienne. Next slide. What is the authentic Egyptian text that has or presents Ta Kim, black land, to designate Egypt? There is no text. That's what Obing is saying. Like, why are you even, coming at me? This designation is a pure invention of our Egyptological scholar who should avoid the scientific lie. Mark Etienne is a dishonest man
right here.
in regards to scientific research. The
Everest
well-attested concept
College
of
in
the
Brooklyn,
unity
New
of
York.
Egypt, materialized by the union of the two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt, is not Kim to be complete, but it is Sema to unite and also Ches to unite. Everyone knows. Next slide. The Sema-Tawi right unification of the two lands is known by the beginner studying Egyptology. Mark Etienne can now learn it. Next slide. In addition, the Egyptian lexicon gives the following. Kemet, le pays noir, the black country in English. Kemet, les gens du pays noir, les hommes et les femmes du pays noir, les habitants du pays noir. That is the Egyptians of pharaonic time. That is the men and women of the black country, the people of the black country, the inhabitants of the black country. The inhabitants of black Africa are black Africans. The inhabitants of the black country are blacks. It is the same reason. The Melanesians are precisely black islanders. Melas, black, and Nessos, Dorian, Nasos, island in Greek. Next slide. In his work, Abdallah makes a distinction between two concepts. One concept is Jeru, limits, and the other concept is Tashu, borders. And Jeru is a concept of limits that is primarily in the spiritual sphere. It deals with time and space on a broad level. But when the Kemites employ Tash, they employ that in a more geopolitical sense. And what is missed by Abdallah in his article is that he doesn't present the historical context of the origin of those concepts. Next slide. And that is that what Ogden doesn't do in that article is that he doesn't give a precise origin to the discourse around Tash, borders. This is a very important point in this discussion. There is a hypersensitivity of the concept of Tashu, borders, in Egyptian text that begins in the first intermediate period, which is not captured or even historically contextualized properly in Golet's narrative frame. And I just give one example here, and I give a text where you can read many examples from for yourself. In Jose Galan, Victory and Board. Approach me, Peti. I shall make a storm over the province. My rule is Neket, after I have made my Tosh as far as Wajapexi. Stella of the overseer of Jari, recording Intef's words addressed to Keti. So the point is here is that there is, when the ancient Egyptians are in this context spending well over 100 years of fighting each other, there is now a fractured national consciousness. And that fractured national consciousness internally is playing out with this hypersensitivity of borders. Against themselves, initially, this goes into my discourse on Hasi also, that you talked about. Everything is linked. Next slide. So, as Asar has rightly said in a presentation, is that in the Old Kingdom, primarily when we look at administrative text, what we can see is we see Tawi, the two lands, we see Siddiqui, two riverbanks, the two riparian lands with the irrigated canals, and then we see Anu, the residents. Next slide. But somewhere, this is from Ogden. Ogden says, somewhere around the period when Egypt was once more reunified under the rule of Dynasty 11 monarch Pet-Ra Mentuhotep II, the terms Kemet, the Black Land, and Ta-Meri, the Beloved Land, first made their appearance. And so what Ogden does in his article is, next slide. What Ogden does in his article is that he distinguishes between what he calls non-literary text and literary text, and to try to make this point. And every time that Ogden, this is an inference being made by Egyptologists, that is that when they see Kemet translated in contrast to Deshret, when they see that, they are translating Black Land. And it has a connotation for them of quote-unquote soil, the soil. When they're not seeing that, then they're translating it as Egypt. That is, as something much broader than this. And so Asar makes a point in a presentation that I saw that when you see the determinatives of an irrigated canal on the back of Kemet as opposed to the town of settlement, what Asar said in one of his presentations was that those two determinatives are interchangeable. No, they're not. Those two determinatives are in different semantic universes. So if you see an irrigated canal on the back of Kemet, then yes, it is appropriate. It's quite appropriate to translate that as the Black land. The Black irrigated land, actually. But if you don't see that, you can't make that translation. When you see the town determinative on Kemet, you cannot make that translation. And it is not inferred or implied. Next slide. So, I have some work to do myself, because I did a little bit of work at Johns Hopkins, and I said, because all of these texts that Ogden gave were very localized in a particular region called the Wadi Hammamat. And everyone knows is that these inscriptions are interesting because many of them lack definitive clarity in terms of the presentation and depictions of glyphs. And I said, I'm just going to take one text from Ogden, and I'm going to just look at how the word Kemet is actually represented in one of his major citations. Because I don't accept what they say. I always want to have reference, as this is my
video, y'all. Come on, like the video. I flew all to Brooklyn, New York to get you guys to see. So like the video.
And here I don't even have the original text, but I'm actually closer because this is a hieroglyphic facsimile. So I actually tried to get the original text, but I couldn't. We actually need to see all of these texts actually before we even make a final determination on this. But what I want to show you is here.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This right here. This right here. This is quote unquote their word for Kemet in one of the texts that Ogden Delay cites. You tell me, if you, Mkundishi, anyone in here who is taking the language, you tell me if that glyph looks like the Kemet glyph. You tell me yes or no. The inference that's being made is that because of the phonetic complement is the owl, that must be Kemet.
Right.
I don't see Kemet in there. In fact, the angle is not there on the Kemet glyph. And then it dips. It has a little dip at the end. I'm not even sure what this glyph is. This is a major text that he cited. So, as slide. And I'm going to go quick. Next slide. I'm going to skip this.
You don't even know what's going on.
And so I'm going to end this presentation on instructions from Mary Ray. Brother Reggie has mentioned this also, but I wanted to talk about this text a lot. Strengthen your borders, your frontier patrols, a wretched people desire the land of a neighbor. Troops will fight troops as the ancestors foretold. Kemet fought in the graveyard, destroying tombs and vengeful destruction. What is going on here, folks, is that, and I disagree with Ogden, because it is not Mentuhotep II that is creating the concept of Kemet for the nation. That is, that in the process of the ancient Egyptians fighting themselves during the first intermediate period, this term has evolved. Kind of like
I know you ain't talking trash. It's probably because I moved around. I have an iPhone 8 Plus.
It's taken on a different geopolitical connotation in the environment of the first intermediate period that culminates with Mentuhotep II, but does not begin with Mentuhotep II.
When I start the live again, you should get a better zoom.
On a geopolitical level, that we're the black country. And they're saying that to
Brother Reggie's presentation is on the first clip.
Also, in their principal opposition of Western Asia in this text. Next slide. Lo, Dr. Columbus quotes this all the time. Lo, the miserable Asiatic. He is wretched because of the place he's in. Short of water, bare of wood. His paths are many and painful. Because of mountains, he does not dwell in one place. Food propels his legs. He fights since the time of Horus. I made Lord Egypt attack them. I captured their inhabitants. I seized their cattle until the Asiatics abhorred Kemet. This is where Ogden is translating Kemet as Egypt. That is, that it goes beyond talking about the quote-unquote soil.
Hey, savageries.
And that's what
my presentation starts at 6.
And as Gardner translates this determinative in his hieroglyphic sign book, is that that glyph implies an inhabited region. That is, you're talking about
Mika, we got some Hebrews in here.
What they are talking about when they say Kemet as the black country, they are talking about both the country and the people. Thank you very much.
All right, y'all. I'm going to start the stream again. Let's get ready to happen.